Hello, my name is Dr. James R. Golding, and you're watching A Natural Healthcare Alternative, the program dedicated to your health, longevity, and well-being. Tonight's program is How to Meditate. If you watch this program tonight, you will have an increased amount of fulfillment in your life, and you will find out the meaning of life. And I'm going to cut short with the second half, and I'm going to give you the answer right now. The meaning of life is to serve. Meditation is not a religion, so you do not have to be concerned that you're going to disturb any of your religious beliefs by practicing what I'm going to promote here tonight. Meditation is an art and it's a science. It has its roots in Eastern culture, and it's been developed over thousands of years. It is a technique that allows us to get rest of the mind and rest of the body simultaneously. Now, you would think that when you go to sleep that this would naturally occur. Far from it. Sleep is, at many times, there's a higher state of mental activity, but different from that in your conscious waking mind than it is in the meditative state. Things that we can gain from meditation are you get to not only relax your mind and your body, you get to receive information from what we would consider to be the infinite universe, the surroundings about us. Now, that doesn't mean heaven or external context. That means our physical spatial surroundings. We become more one with when we meditate. It also immerses you with the infinite universe, and it can enhance your life in so many different ways, in which I'm going to break down. So the first half is going to be the explanation, and the second half we're going to do what you need to practice. I'm going to give you everything that you're going to need for the first year to develop your mind in a way in which you're going to have an enhanced sense of well-being. Meditation will help you to get to know yourself. And when you feel more comfortable with yourself, you're going to feel more comfortable in your skin and in the vessel that was provided to you to express your life and have a happy and healthy life. You also have an inner sense of calmness, an inner sense of well-being about yourself, and increased direction on purpose in life. Also, what you're going to get from tonight is that you will feel empowered yourself. Just the other day, I was talking to a patient that was in the office, and they were explaining to me that they were so unsettled because their work environment, they were laying people off, and she was so concerned that on a daily basis she was living under the gun, that potentially she would lose her job and her livelihood. And I got her to meditate, and she's been doing this, and she's been feeling so much better about herself that she finally realized that she's now empowered, that she has self-worth, that she doesn't have to be a pawn in the game of life, but can take control by developing one's inner self. Happiness also comes from within. Our society is so abundant with material items and things that supposedly are supposed to bring us pleasure that don't. That once you feel comfortable with yourself and there's a sense of oneness, you will be able to enhance your life and move forward to a circumstance in which you're not only in control, but there's a greater sense of well-being about yourself. The physical aspects associated with meditation are, we can take tight and tense muscles and cause them to relax, and these could be areas of chronic pain that you may have had for some very long time. We can normalize our digestive patterns, because a lot of times when we're emotionally tight or emotionally upset, people develop problems digestive-wise, or they start to eat because they have problems digestive-wise. Emotional problems bring on an eating problem, and that's very common in our society. Also, we get a lot of nerve agitation, a lot of tension, a lot of tightness. The stresses that we're under nowadays are very, very abundant. Personally, I don't believe that man's body has become accustomed or is used to the lifestyle that we're leading now. We're leading a lifestyle upon which we have a constant low-level stress and constant low-level irritation to our nervous system and to our adrenal glands and whole hormonal system that we're being depleted as a society. It used to be 20 years ago, I used to treat people that came in for stress because it was there. Now I treat people for insomnia because I find they're taking their stress to bed with them. That's how tight and tense our society has become. Frequently, people will say, geez, they're so good, they're on top of it, they're constantly thinking, they're right on their game. You know what I found out? People in our society are overthinking. There's chronic overthinking going on, and that's the cause of most of our diseases and disorders. It was said that when I grew up, Einstein used the 1/6 of his brain. Wasn't he such a smart man? So the whole goal when I grew up was like, constantly use your brain, because if you use your brain, you're going to get smarter. Until I recognized that the brain is really not much different than any other organ in the body, and your brain is either used correctly or used incorrectly. We're using so much of our brain with superfluous BS that constantly rolls around in our brain, causing us agitation. That needs to be cleared out so that we could use our brain more efficiently and start to enjoy our lives to a greater degree. Some of the physical aspects associated with conditions that you could treat to make yourself enhanced through meditation one is the lowering of blood pressure. I can't believe that a singular prescription in this country for blood pressure medication isn't written without a prescription for this tape that we're going to do tonight, or something on this topic of relaxation and self-control. Because if blood pressure isn't caused by an organically caused problem, but it's caused by the internal environment, meditation is the way to get rid of that medication, or at least lower the dosages of that medication. Early on, when they started to do studies of yogis here in the late 60s, they found out that the yogis, that's what they could instantly control was their blood pressure. So we're very interested in being able to do that. It's just so sad that our society didn't take that to heart and become incorporating these things into the natural state of well-being. Another observation of mine, and I'm extremely concerned about this, is the fact that the amount of mental and emotional disorders that are occurring in our society has become extrapolatingly great. I can't believe in a society in which we have this amount of abundance and this amount of resources and this amount of information available to us, that so many people are getting all screwed up in their head, that they're letting their life be controlled from things without, and they're causing, first, stress. Now, of course, anything in life is stress. I mean, that's what motivates us. We're hungry, we're thirsty, we're this, we're that, we need money. So, but the thing is, once we start to internalize these stresses in a negative context, that's when it becomes bad. So that creates a lot of agitation in the mind. The next thing I'm seeing too much of is anxiety and nervousness, because first we got the stress, then we got the nervousness. Oh, they're constantly nervous. Too much agitation in the brain. Then what we have anxiety. The nervousness turns into anxiety. So that turns into the need for Zoloft and Paxil. So as we go to the doctor, because we're like this, we're like Ren and Stimpy, the little dog. They're going like this. I see people are actually vibrating. They're so nervous. And then what happens is it turns into worry. They're worrying about everything. Fear of the unknown. Fear of the future. Where are we going? What's going to happen tomorrow? Never being in the moment to enjoy never a state of well-being and solidity. There's never a sense of groundedness about the person. There's no sense of self. So then I observe people and I wait, and you know what I see next? Depression. Because you can't go like this forever, just like you can't use an organ forever without wearing out. The people go through this sequence, and all of a sudden they're depressed. Now, depression in the mind is that you take all that energy, and even the normal amount of energy, and you pull it all away, and they become depressed. And then they develop problems with self-image. And then they develop problems with self-outlook, and they're deprived. So what happened is too much agitation, Eventually, you wear the brain down and it becomes deficient and tired, and you don't want to get out of bed, and you lack purpose. Meditation can eliminate the vast majority of what's going on. It's just a matter of taking the physical steps to go ahead and learn these techniques and incorporate them. And we're going to break them down in just a few moments. Meditation, when I show you, I want you to, number one, you're going to do it every single day. Meditation is very similar to exercise. When you start out in the beginning, you're not going to be very good at it. And most of the people that I've taught to do meditation over the years, oh, I tried it for a week and it just didn't seem to do that. Oh, I couldn't sit down that long. I couldn't give it that 20 minutes to get the break to go ahead and do that. So I didn't do it anymore. And what gets me upset is that I know in my heart of hearts that that person needed to do what I said even more than ever before, because they couldn't do it. That's how bad they need it. They're so wound up. They're taken, we have two cycles in life. We have activity cycles and rest cycles. And the problem is there is a diminishing amount of rest cycle, especially in our modern-paced society. Too much friction going on in your head. So what we need to do is we need a state of calmness, and we need this to bring and empower ourselves, give us the tools to eliminate the friction. Very similar to like a circuit breaker. What happens is that we can understand this very well in our homes. You plug in too much stuff into too many outlets, just like that whole thing that you stick all that stuff in. And what happens? It flips the circuit breaker. That resets the system to cool down so that we flip it back again so that it can hopefully charge or be able to take the system until you make adjustments. The mind isn't that much different from that. What happens is that we constantly putting so much energy in the head till we're waiting for the circuit breaker to fail. Oh, I feel like crud today. I don't know, I just got a funk come over me. It's because there's just too much activity in a bad way going on upside your head. So, you're going to practice meditation every day. You're going to recognize it's going to take a long time to get good at it, but you're going to do it anyway because you're going to listen to me and you're going to follow what I tell you, and you're going to lead a happier life. Meditation is best to do sitting. Don't lie in bed. Don't lie on the floor. You're not going to meditate standing up. If a person wanted to take things like yoga or some of these other things where you're doing meditation in a certain position, that's all fine as far as I'm concerned. However, you don't have to do all of that to get and be a good meditator. You're going to do it sitting. And in a few minutes, I'm going to be sitting in this chair and we're going to go over all of that. Now, so you need a chair in which you could sit upright. Usually when I meditate in the office, and I meditate every day from 2 to 2:30, and you say, well, oh, I can't do that. Well, then you're going to practice meditation for first thing in the morning and when you first get home from work, and you're going to do it for 15 minutes each time. I meditate a half an hour every day. And the reason why I do it from 2 to 2:30 is that I allow for any crud that I may have accumulated in my mind in the morning to get rid of that before I start with the patients in the afternoon. Let's say I had a really tough morning and something didn't go right, and I'm dwelling on some negative aspect that occurred with some patient's condition. And all of a sudden I go in and I treat people all afternoon, and you know what happens? I'm not in with them totally. Part of my brain is still dealing with that negative circumstance. So what I do by meditating is I bring that all back into proportion. I allow for that calmness to come. Allow for that relaxed state that we'll soon be feeling to weave a tapestry of total stress-free consciousness into what we're going to do. Now, meditation is done alone. You come into this world alone, and you're going to go out alone. And it's all okay. The relationships that you develop in your life are only going to enhance your experience here. But the better you are about yourself and the development of oneself, the more of a magnet you'll be for all of the additional relationships that you want to occur in your life, whether it be friends, whether it be in your marital life, whether it be the relationships you develop at work. All of that all starts here, right here, right here. Now, so we're going to allow at least once or twice a day, you're going to allow at least 15 minutes. So if you have all this stuff going on around you, eliminate as much of it as you can so that you're not being bothered so much. Now let's talk about some techniques that you have to work on before you start to do the meditating. I want you to go to the health food store and you're going to pick up a book called Super Brain Breathing. It was written in the 1930s by a very smart man called Paul Bragg. And you're going to, and the book is about 20 pages long, and you're going to buy that at the local health food store. They'll order it for you. Americans breathe from their chest. They don't breathe from your diaphragm, as is anatomically necessary. Practice those exercises, because you don't have to do it while you're meditating, but start to retrain yourself to breathe through your abdomen, and you're going to have a greater sense of center or balance to your body. Also, by concentrating on your breathing, you'll see that a lot of Americans, they have erratic breathing patterns. It's not, it's a simple thing like breathing. We don't have it down. We're struggling to breathe. We're struggling in life. The intimate link between life and death is breathing. That's our act. So what happens is that to develop this nice, smooth flow, it's going to carry over into your life. So you're going to practice the breathing thing, and you're going to get everything out of the way, and you're going to take a seat in the chair. I have my Lazy Boy recliner, which I like because I can put my head back and rest it back without the muscles being tight. The next step you're going to do is that you're going to take the muscles of your body, and you're going to tense everything up and then relax. Tense everything up and then relax. The reason for that is that that's going to help you to draw attention to the areas that are intrinsically tight or tense within your body. Sometimes that tightness or tension that we get at the base of our head and neck, or that point that you get right there, or that dull, toothache lower back pain that you feel, there's signals, and they're sending your body signals that they're tight and tense. But we override them a lot, just like we do with many other things, emotionally and physically within our body and viscerally. We override the signals until disease and disorder takes over, and gradually we succumb. So what happens is that by doing the tension and relaxation aspect, we're calling attention to these areas that are tight so that we start to know and develop a sense of where we need to call heartfelt attention into to allow for healing. Now, we're going to do two different types of meditation today. One is called dry dock or candle meditation, but the one I feel that is most important for you to start out with is mantra meditation. Now, here is the example that I want you to use in your mental framework. Here, just like a rainbow, or just like the sun, and then we have the planets, or like a rainbow that goes around there, just like layers. Here's your conscious waking mind, and here's what they call the cosmic consciousness. Many times people don't understand what meditation's about. Meditation is the absence of thought. We're trying to get to a point in which your body's relaxed and there's no thought. You would think that that's a very easy thing to do, but it's not, because we have to train ourselves because we have a constant flow of thought. It's called the flow of consciousness. Even though you may not be thinking about different things, we're doing a lot of dwelling. We're here. You're picking up the kids at the bus stop. You're doing whatever you got to do. All of these things that keep everything alive in your head. Sometimes you got to give it a break, especially for the self-depreciating negative thoughts that we think about ourselves. So what happens is that as we start to eliminate thought, we get closer to this state of infinite oneness with the universe and cosmic consciousness. They're one and the same. Don't be afraid of it. It's fine. It's a good feeling. And when you're there, you're in tune. just like a tuning fork. Got the right tune. A, for good health. Now, how are we going to get there? We're going to get there by using a mantra. A mantra is a word that we're going to use that I want you to think of a mantra as an eraser. It is going to erase conscious thought from your mind. Got it? So, the mantra I want you to use is Ima. That's your mantra. Ima. Now, what you're going to do is that you're going to sit down and gradually you're going to start to use the word Ima in your mind. You're going to start to repeat it over and over. And it's not Ima, Ima. It is Ima. 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 It's not just a word. It is something that they found out deals with sound phonics and your brain waves. The goal in the beginning is initially you may be there for 15 or 20 minutes repeating Ima in your mind. Not so fun. But gradually as you do it more and more, you'll find that those foreign thoughts begin to diminish and they go away. That's the point in which you want to be. No mantra, no thought. That's the bliss we're looking for. You get better as you do it. So what happens is that, you're going to reach some magic point, and it's not going to happen. And then, bam, you start to think again. And then you're going to reintroduce the mantra back into your mind. Ima. Ima. As you become better and better at it, there's less mantra, less thought, and when you become really good at it, you can go into that state in less than a minute. And like I'll get up, half an hour, bam! It is just like I close my eyes, just like that, in a half an hour. And you say, well, what happens if you fall asleep? Well, this is the area in which you want to be. Sleep is way up here. Sometimes that happens. But usually it's not so easy to do. When you're doing this process and you're sitting, that's the reason why you're not going to lay in a bed, because you don't want to fall asleep. You can do sleep at night. Part of the problems with sleep nowadays is that people don't go into a full range of sleep patterns of what they're finding nowadays. But if you go into the state of meditative state, it allows for the reintroduction of all of the normal sleep patterns. Just like the same stuff that you're taking ambient and you're taking herbs and you're doing all these things so that you can sleep better. Here's sleep. Here's cosmic consciousness, here's the unconscious mind, and this is this universal presence down here, and there's all these levels of sleep. And here's all these sleep clinics right here. We're going to the sleep clinic, we're taking the CPAP, we're sleeping with that so that we sleep right, just so that we can get into these normal ranges when if we practice this, you're going to get all of that back. What you thought was lost and what you thought was lost for good, you're going to get it back. Let's meditate. Now, here we go. You're going to come, you're going to stamp your feet a little bit, you're going to take the tension out of there, you're going to take the tightness, you're going to cause it to relax, you're going to get comfy. You're going to take a moment out and you're going to sense your breathing. You're going to sense your heartbeat, rhythmic, calm, and relaxed. You're going to close your eyes, and here's the real clitcher. This is the technique I didn't tell you. You're going to lift up your eyes. When your eyes are closed, you're going to lift it up 15 degrees inside of your head. When you hold that 15-degree eye tilt, once you start to meditate, it will bring you into something that's called the alpha state. That's going to give you a leg up on getting to this level of cosmic consciousness. 15 degrees is where you're going to hold your eye. Not so much that your eyes are going to flutter like this, just 15 degrees. You concentrate on your breathing, comfortable and rhythmic. Then you're going to start with your mantra. Ima. You don't have to repeat it. This is all inside your head. Ima. And you know what? I feel it reverberating inside of my head like inside of a drum. And once you feel that, once you just don't hear it, but you feel it, like your brain is reverberating inside of an echo tunnel, you will know that you have that sound phonic down appropriate and that you are bringing yourself into the tune and tonicity that you need to be. We're peeling the onion on your consciousness and we're getting down to the core because that's where it's the sweetest. The next step that we're going to do, once you start to practice and repeat that form of meditation, which I think is the best thing for you to do. Now, there's all kinds of meditations. There is this kind, which I think is the best to start out with. And you say, well, is it just about the absence of thought? No, it's not. There are other forms of guided and directed meditations. There's many. This is just the beginning. But the thing is, you will never be good at any of the other things that I'll show you unless you get the beginning down, unless you get this basis down, unless you can eliminate the flow of consciousness, that conscious waking thought from your mind. You'll never get to the big part. You'll never get to the party. So you must learn this part first. If you find you have difficulty, you can't do that, or you feel you can't do it, then you're going to use a different technique. This is called dry dock. And what you're going to do is you're going to, rather than use sound phonics in your brain, you are going to use concentration to force the thought outside of your brain. And you're going to do that by staring at a candle or a fixed object. Candles are the best because it has a pinpoint. Now, I'm going to look at this thing. I'm going to look at this candle. And in a while, my eyes will start to fatigue a little bit. I'll know I'm doing right. I'm not holding my eyes open, but I know I'll start to get some tearing, some watering eyes. And the light will become very, very brighter. I'm coning it in, just like I'm honing in with a microscope or with a little telescope. And what you'll be after you do this for a while, you'll find that that world goes away. And once that world goes away visually, you'll find that you have a core inside of that, and then gradually the conscious waking thought will start to leave you. This is a very good beginner's technique. You can't do it enough, and there's a lot of candles in the world, so there's a lot of place for you to begin. This is such a simple technique. We're looking for so much joy. We're looking for so much complexity in our lives to make us happy. It makes me upset that people can't find it through more basic means. I'm Dr. James R. Golding. Thank you for watching.